There is no more iconic landscape of the American West than Monument Valley. And there's no animal more symbolic than the horse. Monument Valley spreads across 92,000 acres of Navajo Nation across Utah and Arizona.
In the rugged deserts of Utah, where ancient landscapes whisper tales of the Earth's history, a remarkable discovery has stunned archaeologists and geologists alike. Imagine stumbling upon a colossal quarry buried beneath layers of time, its secrets waiting patiently to be unearthed. This isn't just any quarry, it's a prehistoric marvel, dating back to a time long before civilizations walked these lands. What treasures lie hidden within its depths, offering a glimpse into an era lost to the sands of time? Join us as we delve into the mystery of a pre-flood mega quarry unexpectedly discovered in Utah that shocked the whole world. Majestic symbol of the American West, Monument Valley, situated within the Navajo Nation at the border of Arizona and Utah, stands as a majestic symbol of the American West. Its towering sandstone formations, reaching heights between 400 to 1,000 feet above the valley floor, have been shaped over millennia by natural forces. Paired with surrounding mesas, buttes, and desert landscapes, it ranks among the world's most awe-inspiring natural wonders. How did these remarkable sandstone towers come to be? Similar to Arches and Canyonlands national parks to the north, Monument Valley reveals the relentless erosion of nature across ages, yet it boasts formations unique on Earth. Over millions of years, layers of sediment settled and solidified in the basin. As the basin lifted into a plateau, wind and water gradually eroded the softer layers, unveiling the striking formations we marvel at today. These spires, buttes, and mesas continue to evolve slowly, standing as enduring monuments long after our time. Think of Monument Valley as a unique blend. It functions much like a national, but it's actually part of the Navajo Nation's expansive territory, covering 27,425 square miles, or 71,000 square kilometers, in the Four Corners region of the United States. Within this vast expanse, over 91,000 acres are designated as Monument Valley Tribal Park, a space larger than Arches National Park. This iconic emblem of the American West is globally renowned, its stunning landscapes immortalized in numerous films, notably starting with several iconic John Wayne films, including Stagecoach in 1939. At the park headquarters and visitor center, visitors can delve into the area's history and culture, exploring exhibits on Navajo archaeology, arts, and crafts. A scenic drive allows for a self-guided tour, offering panoramic views of the park's famous formations, while guided tours provide deeper insights and exploration opportunities. Monument Valley enjoys a desert climate characterized by cold winters and hot summers. Despite the summer heat, the valley's high altitude helps moderate temperatures. Typically, there are about 54 days yearly with temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius. However, summer highs seldom surpass 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. The nights during summer are pleasantly cool, and temperatures drop swiftly after sunset. Winters in Monument Valley are chilly, but daytime temperatures generally stay above freezing. Freezing temperatures below 0 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 18 degrees Celsius are rare, although they can occur. Snowfall in winter is occasional and light, typically melting away within a day or two. A mystery of ancient engineering. North of Monument Valley lies a mysterious site that defies natural explanation. Here you'll find perfectly rectangular and cubic blocks, all with exact 90-degree angles and straight, precise lines, as if cut by a laser. The surfaces of these blocks are incredibly smooth, resembling the precision of machine-made cuts. Recently, independent researchers have taken an interest in this site, fascinated by its geometric precision. They compared the arrangement of these blocks to giant Legos and noted some intriguing gaps where it seems blocks might be missing. How could such precision occur naturally? The cliff and blocks are made of sandstone, a sedimentary rock typically composed of sand-sized mineral particles and rock fragments. However, sandstone doesn't naturally form such clean, sharp edges. Some of these blocks are perfect cubes, each side measuring almost exactly 21 feet and weighing approximately 670 tons. The massive rectangular blocks could weigh around 900 tons. A large portion of the site appears pre-cut, with blocks segmented and seemingly ready for extraction. Could this have been an enormous quarry used by an advanced ancient civilization? Adding to the mystery, there are ancient drawings on the site, likely created by the Navajo people. These drawings depict humanoid figures alongside spiral symbols. In Navajo belief, the spiral symbolizes the concept of time, which they view as cyclical rather than linear. The Navajo consider this site, along with many others in the area, including the entirety of Monument Valley, to be sacred. They believe these formations were created by the holy people. According to Navajo tradition, the rock formations and buttes of Monument Valley are the remnants of ancient beings who once roamed the earth. These beings were destroyed due to their actions and by the will of the gods, leaving behind the large rock formations and buttes as guardians of the land and reminders of the past. When you look at the precise angles and smooth surfaces of these gigantic blocks, you might notice their resemblance to other massive stones around the world, such as those in Balbec. Balbec, located in Lebanon, houses some of the most fascinating architectural relics from ancient times. Among these are the trilithon, 3 colossal stones that form part of the podium for the Temple of Jupiter. Each of these stones is estimated to weigh around 800 tons. The true age of this immense megalithic platform is still a mystery to archaeologists, although many believe it to be at least 9,000 years old. This ancient complex continues to intrigue experts and laypeople alike with its sheer size and the impressive engineering required to construct it. Unraveling nature's precision. The ancient civilizations of the Phoenicians, Greeks, and Romans constructed their impressive temples and structures on the sturdy foundations at Balbec. Yet none of their feats come close to the monumental scale and engineering skill displayed by the Balbec stones. These enormous blocks, cut with remarkable accuracy and placed with perfect precision, fit together seamlessly. The techniques used to transport and assemble these massive stones remain a mystery to historians and engineers. Despite extensive study, modern experts have not been able to determine how ancient builders, with their limited technology, managed to move and position stones weighing hundreds and even thousands of tons with such precision. Theories abound, ranging from the use of simple tools and sheer manpower to more advanced, yet undocumented methods involving levers, ramps, and possibly even lost technologies. Adjacent to these stones lies an even larger block, known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, resting in a nearby quarry. This gigantic stone is estimated to weigh around 1,000 tons. Many believe that only an advanced ancient civilization, equipped with lost technology or knowledge, could have accomplished such a feat. Remarkably, even with our modern machinery and technology, it would be impossible to lift these massive stones at Balbec, much less stack them. While it is clear that the Balbec stones are man-made, the origins of the Navajo stone blocks remain uncertain. There is still a possibility that these formations are natural. Although nature typically doesn't shape sandstone into such precise blocks, natural processes can sometimes result in block-like structures. Initially, sand accumulates in layers through sedimentation in basins or low-lying areas, compacting as more sediment is deposited on top. Over millions of years, this sand is transformed into solid rock through lithification, a process where minerals like quartz or calcite fill the spaces between sand grains, binding them together. As tectonic forces reshape the Earth's crust, these sandstone layers can be uplifted and exposed to the elements. When exposed, Sandstone undergoes weathering and erosion due to wind, water, temperature fluctuations, and biological activity. These natural forces can carve sandstone into distinct shapes, including block-like formations, especially along natural lines of weakness, such as joints and bedding planes. When we delve into the natural wonders of our planet, we discover many geological masterpieces that mirror the precision of human craftsmanship, showcasing perfect geometry. One such marvel is the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. This extraordinary landscape features around 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, mostly hexagonal, that descend like steps into the North Sea. Formed approximately 50 to 60 million years ago during intense volcanic activity, the rapid cooling of lava upon contact with the sea caused the surface to contract and fracture into these astonishing columnar shapes. The uniformity and neatness of these columns resemble a meticulously crafted sculpture. Across the Atlantic in California, the Devil's Postpile National Monument presents a similar spectacle. Here, towering columns of basalt rise majestically, forming a symmetrical organ-like structure. This natural phenomenon occurred when a lava flow cooled and shrank, resulting in the multi-sided columns. The near-perfect uniformity of these columns, some soaring over 60 feet high, is a breathtaking example of nature's geometric precision. Iceland's Svartafoss, or Black Falls, is another marvel of natural architecture. Surrounded by dark lava columns that starkly contrast with the white cascading water, Svartafoss has inspired human creations with its striking geometry. These basalt columns formed inside a lava flow that cooled slowly, fracturing into hexagonal patterns. In Scotland, the island of Staffa is home to Fingal's Cave, renowned for its naturally formed basalt columns. Much like the Giant's Causeway, Staffa's columns were shaped by cooling volcanic lava, creating a cathedral-like structure that captivates visitors. In the heart of Europe, the Czech Republic's Panská Skala, or Lord's Rock, presents another intriguing geological formation. Often referred to as the organ pipes, this site consists of a cluster of basalt columns that rise vertically from the ground, harmoniously mirroring the pipes of a grand organ. All these sites illustrate the diverse and fascinating ways in which natural forces sculpt our world. However, it is intriguing to note the absence of formations exactly like those in the Navajo Nation, where the precision of the natural stone blocks seems almost too exact to be purely the work of nature. This uniqueness may spark curiosity and skepticism about the strictly natural origins of such exact formations, inviting us to ponder the forces and conditions that might have contributed to their creation. Majestic views and geological wonders. In and around Monument Valley, numerous distinctive vantage points offer breathtaking views. Among them stand the West and East Mitten Buttes, famously known as the Mittens. These two colossal formations, situated in northeast Navajo County, Arizona, present a striking resemblance to giant mittens when viewed from the south, their thumbs facing inward. Approximately 0.6 miles from the Arizona-Utah state line, West Mitten Butte extends 1.1 mile northeast from the park headquarters. Rising to an elevation of 6,176 feet, West Mitten Butte is slightly shorter than its counterpart, East Mitten Butte, which reaches 6,226 feet in height. Together with Merrick Butte, located about 2/3 of a mile to the south, and Sentinel Mesa to the northwest, the Mittens form a triangular arrangement within the landscape. During late March and mid-September, a brief phenomenon known as the Mitten Shadow occurs at sunset when the shadow of West Mitten Butte is cast onto East Mitten Butte. Geologically, the buttes consist of three primary rock layers: Organ Rock Shale at the base, Decelli Sandstone in the middle, and the Moenkopi Formation topped with Shinarump Conglomerate. Merrick Butte, another prominent feature in Monument Valley, shares a similar geological history with the Mittens, and is part of the Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park. Named after Jack Merrick, a silver miner who met his fate at the hands of Native Americans in 1880, this butte contributes to the iconic landscape that draws visitors from around the world. The view from Hunts Mesa stands unparalleled in Monument Valley. Accessible only through authorized guided tours, reaching Hunts Mesa involves a rugged 2-hour off-road journey around its less-traveled backside. The terrain is so rough that it's advisable to let the guide's vehicle endure the bumps rather than risk your own off-road vehicle. Ascending Hunts Mesa is truly an adventure in itself, but the effort is rewarded with breathtaking views once you reach the summit. To witness the fascinating sunrise or sunset from this vantage point, you'll need to arrange an overnight camping trip with a local guide service. Alternatively, with special arrangements, you might convince a guide to navigate the challenging off-road route in darkness before sunrise or after sunset. While at the top of Hunts Mesa, there's little else to do but marvel at the scenery, capture the stunning sunrise or sunset on camera, and cherish the moment with your companions. For the more adventurous hikers, it's also possible to trek from the floor of Monument Valley to the summit of Hunts Mesa, scaling a 1,200-foot ascent. However, even if hiking, an authorized guide must accompany you to ensure a safe and enjoyable experience. The totem pole is another striking pillar or rock spire in Monument Valley, a butte worn down by erosion over time. It gained fame when it was first successfully climbed from June 11th to 13th, 1957, by a team consisting of Bill Feuerer, Jerry Galwas, Mark Powell, and Don Wilson. The climbing route they pioneered is rated 50.10 in the Yosemite decimal system, with sections requiring aid climbing rated A2. In 1979, another route named Never Never Land was established on the totem pole. The totem pole also became a notable filming location. Scenes for the 1975 thriller film The Eiger Sanction, directed by Clint Eastwood, were shot there. Eastwood, known for his hands-on approach, performed all his stunts during the mountain climbing sequences of the film. Ron Hogan, an author, highlighted Eastwood's involvement, noting that his crew agreed to clear the mountainside of all pitons left from previous climbing expeditions to secure permission for filming in Monument Valley. Cultural legacy in Monument Valley. The Navajo Nation reveres Monument Valley as a sacred place within their reservation, where their ancestral traditions and cultural identity thrive. The Navajo people, known as Diné in their language, have a rich heritage rooted in the southwest United States. Historically, they are descendants of southern Athabascan peoples who migrated southward from subarctic North America about 1,000 years ago, possibly influenced by volcanic events in Alaska. This migration brought them through the Rocky Mountains to their current homeland. Originally hunter-gatherers, the Navajo later adopted farming techniques from neighboring Pueblo communities, cultivating the traditional Three Sisters crops: corn, beans, and squash. They also embraced sheep and goat herding introduced by the Spanish, which became central to their economy and cultural practices. Sheep provided meat and wool for weaving and served as a form of currency and status within Navajo society. Navajo women played a crucial role in the community's economic and cultural life by spinning and weaving wool into intricately designed blankets and clothing, highly valued for their artistic expression and traded widely. This craft not only sustained families but also became a source of pride and tradition, symbolizing the Navajo people's resilience and adaptability over generations. According to oral history, the Navajo people have a long-standing relationship with the Pueblo communities, marked by a willingness to share ideas and language variations. Historical records from the mid-16th century Spanish era describe robust trading between the Navajo and Pueblo groups. The Pueblo traded maize and woven cotton goods with the Navajo in exchange for bison meat, hides, and stones, which were essential commodities for both groups. Before 1600, Spanish accounts referred to the Navajo as Apaches or Quechos. It was Fray Geronimo de Zárate Salmerón in the 1620s who first used Apache de Navajo to describe people in the Chama Valley region. The term Navajo originated from the Tewa language, meaning large area of cultivated lands, reflecting the Navajos' agricultural practices. By the 1640s, the Spanish began using Navajo to specifically refer to the Diné people. During the 1670s, Spanish reports located the Diné in Dineta, approximately 60 miles west of the Rio Chama Valley. In the 18th century, Spanish military expeditions targeted Navajo settlements in areas like Mount Taylor and Chusca Mountains, as tensions occasionally flared into conflicts. Despite periodic skirmishes, the Navajo, Spanish, and Hopi communities engaged in trade and formed alliances to defend against common foes like the Apache and Comanche bands. Governor Chacon's 1800 expedition to the Tunicha Mountains saw Navajo leaders seeking peace, which was temporarily achieved until major conflicts erupted again in 1804 and 1805. These cycles of peacemaking, occasional raids, and ongoing trade persisted among the Navajo, Spanish, Apache, Comanche, and Hopi until the arrival of Americans, marking a significant shift in the region's dynamics and relationships. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the heart of Utah's desert, where crimson cliffs meet endless skies, archaeologists unearthed a marvel unseen for millennia: the pre-flood Mega Quarry. Nestled beneath layers of sediment and time, the colossal rectangular megalith rose defiantly against the backdrop of ancient dunes. Its smooth granite surface bore intricate carvings that whispered tales of forgotten gods and lost civilizations. On top of this behemoth stood a lone figure, weathered by centuries of wind and sun. His name was Eli, a scholar turned adventurer whose quest for truth led him here. As he surveyed the sprawling landscape from his stone perch, the weight of discovery settled upon him. This quarry, older than the pyramids of Giza, held secrets that could rewrite history. Eli's fingers traced patterns etched into the stone, symbols of a language unknown, yet strangely familiar. With each stroke, the megalith seemed to hum with ancient energy, a resonance that stirred his soul. He imagined the bustling quarry, once alive with the rhythmic clang of chisels and the shouts of laborers. As twilight bathed the desert in hues of amber and violet, Eli whispered to the wind, "Behold the pre-flood mega quarry discovered in Utah." Below him, shadows danced among forgotten tools and fragments of a civilization lost to time. Spiritual wisdom and ancient myths. Navajo's spiritual beliefs focus on restoring balance and harmony in people's lives to promote health, centered around the concept of hojuji. According to Navajo tradition, they categorize people into two groups: Earth people and Holy people. Earth people, known as Diné, are tasked with maintaining a delicate balance between Mother Earth and humanity. Navajo cosmology describes a journey through different worlds before arriving in the current world, known as the Fourth World, or the Glittering World. Initially, in the First World, or the Dark World, the four holy people lived, and it was here that the first woman and first man emerged. However, because of the darkness that inhibited life, they moved on. The journey continued to the Second World, or the Blue World, inhabited by early mammals and overseen by the swallow chief, Tashchoji. Offenses led them to migrate south to the Third World, or the Yellow World, where the sacred mountains were discovered. A great flood eventually forced them to seek refuge in the Fourth World, where they finally settled. Similar to the Navajo belief, flood myths are prevalent across diverse civilizations, such as the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, the biblical story of Noah's Ark, and tales from ancient Greece, China, and indigenous Australian cultures. These flood myths often symbolize themes of purification, renewal, and the cyclical nature of life and the cosmos. They reflect ancient civilizations' understanding of natural phenomena and their attempts to explain cataclysmic events through storytelling and myth. In many flood stories, humans and divine beings navigate the waters to survive and ultimately find new lands or a renewed world, echoing themes of resilience and adaptation. Moreover, some scholars speculate on potential connections between ancient flood myths and a shared cultural memory of real-world events, such as the end of the last ice age, when rising sea levels and catastrophic floods reshaped coastlines and river valleys globally. This hypothesis suggests that disparate flood narratives could stem from distant memories of ancient peoples who witnessed or were affected by these dramatic geological shifts. In the glittering world, significant events unfolded, including the advent of true death, the establishment of the seasons, and the creation of celestial bodies like the moon, stars, and sun. The Diin Dine, also known as the Holy People, instructed the Navajo Earth People to regard 4 sacred mountains as the boundaries of their homeland, Dineta, which they were to never leave. These mountains hold deep spiritual significance. Blanca Peak in Colorado, known as Cisnagini or Dawn Mountain, Mount Taylor in New Mexico, called Sudziu or Blue Bead Mountain, the San Francisco Peaks in Arizona, named Duco Usweed or Abalone Shell Mountain, and Hesperus Mountain in Colorado, known as Dibe Nitsa or Big Mountain Sheep. In Navajo spirituality, the number 4 holds special importance, symbolizing fundamental aspects of their beliefs. This sacred number manifests in various ways. There were originally 4 clans of the Dine, 4 colors and times of day, and 4 principal Diin Dine. Even rituals often involve the repetition or use of 4 elements, such as songs sung during ceremonies. Navajo culture encompasses a rich tale of ceremonies aimed at preventing or curing illnesses. Central to these practices is the use of corn pollen, considered a powerful blessing and offering during prayers. Among the most significant ceremonies are the Blessing Way, or Hojo Oji, and the Enemy Way, or Anain Da'a. The Blessing Way focuses on fostering peace, harmony, and positive energies within the Navajo community, while the Enemy Way addresses external influences that disrupt harmony. Spiritual healing ceremonies are deeply rooted in Navajo traditional stories and myths. One notable example is the Night Chant ceremony, which spans several days and involves up to 24 dancers adorned with buckskin masks representing specific deities. Each day of the Night Chant is marked by intricate sand paintings created to invoke spiritual beings and facilitate healing through prayers. These ceremonies not only serve therapeutic purposes, but also uphold Navajo cultural identity and spiritual resilience, reinforcing their deep connection to the natural and spiritual worlds that surround them. From conflict to resilience. In 1846, during the Mexican-American War, the Navajo encountered the United States Army as it took control of New Mexico and Arizona. The U.S. aimed to pacify the Navajo, who had been raiding Spanish settlements. However, instead of bringing peace, federal actions often escalated conflict. The American Army aligned with European settlers without considering the underlying causes of hostilities. When Navajo leader Narbona learned of the Americans, he cautiously sent a small party, including elders, to observe them near Santa Fe. Convinced of the American strength, Narbona decided it was prudent to establish relations. In 1846, Charles Bent, an Indian commissioner, described the Navajo as industrious and intelligent, cultivating crops and fruits for sustenance. In November 1846, Navajo leaders Narbona, Zarila, and Jose Largo met with Colonel Alexander Doniphan's 350 soldiers under Captain John Reed at Bear Springs, negotiating a peace treaty. However, the treaty did not represent all Navajo bands, leading to misunderstandings with the Americans. This Treaty of Bear Springs was never ratified by the Senate. Subsequently, in 1848, several Navajo leaders signed the New Mexico Treaty, which was quickly broken. The following year, a new treaty was signed at Canyon de Chelly in 1849. The treaty permitted the construction of forts and trading posts on Navajo land, with promises of significant aid and humane measures from the United States. However, tensions erupted soon after when a dispute over a stolen horse escalated into violence. The U.S. Army fired a cannon at the Navajo, resulting in the deaths of around 20 Navajos and several wounded. Among them was the revered Chief Narbona, who was mortally wounded but managed to return to his home to bid farewell to his family. Narbona, widely respected among the Navajo, had earnestly sought peace with the U.S. In 1849, 4 Navajo medicine men undertook a sacred journey to Toy Agli, the meeting place of waters, to seek guidance from the holy people through sand markings. These markings suggested a distant journey and foretold numerous burials. Concurrently, the blind Navajo prophet, Bina Utin, also prophesied similar events. As American settlements expanded in New Mexico, they encountered resistance from the Mescalero Apache and Navajo, who fought to preserve their ancestral lands and way of life. In response, the U.S. Army constructed new forts on native lands and launched attacks. On April 30, 1860, Navajo leaders Manalo and Barban led 1,000 warriors in an assault on Fort Defiance, nearly overwhelming it. In the ensuing conflict, the U.S. Army waged a campaign against the Mescalero Apache and Navajo, systematically destroying their villages, fields, orchards, and livestock. Congress authorized the establishment of Fort Sumner at Bosque Redondo on October 31, 1862, marking the first Indian reservation west of Oklahoma's Indian Territory. The government planned to transform the Apache and Navajo into farmers at Bosque Redondo, using irrigation from the Pecos River. They were also supposed to assimilate by attending schools and adopting Christianity. The Mescalero Apache surrendered in 1861, followed by the Navajos in 1863 and 1864. However, not all Navajos surrendered. Some stayed near the San Juan River, while others joined free Apache groups. The infamous Long Walk began in the spring of 1864, when the Army forced approximately 9,000 Navajo men, women, and children to march over 3 miles to Fort Sumner, New Mexico, for internment at Bosque Redondo. This relocation proved disastrous, as the government failed to provide sufficient water, firewood, food, and livestock. Crop failures and diseases were rampant, and there were frequent raids by other tribes and settlers. Minor skirmishes with the Army also occurred. During the harsh winter journey lasting nearly 2 months, about 200 Navajo died from exposure and starvation, with more perishing after they arrived at the barren reservation. The march itself took 18 grueling days. This forced march, led by Kit Carson, became known to the Navajo as the Long Walk. In 1868, the Treaty of Bosque Redondo was negotiated between Navajo leaders and the federal government, allowing the Navajo to return to a reservation on a portion of their homeland. Upon their return, the Navajo found themselves hungry and impoverished, despite their efforts to reclaim their land along the Arizona-New Mexico border. Unfortunately, their territory was significantly reduced compared to what they had previously occupied. Before the forced relocation to Bosque Redondo, the Navajo were among the few tribes permitted to return to their homeland. The U.S. government provided them with rations and sheep, and over the following years, the Navajo significantly increased their livestock numbers. According to the treaty terms, the Navajo could leave the reservation for trade, but only with authorization from military authorities or the local Indian agent. This arrangement allowed them limited freedom of movement for economic purposes. How do you think the stones in Monument Valley were quarried? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.